If you've ever found yourself thinking that cars are more fast and powerful now than they were 10, 20, or even 30 years ago, you wouldn't be wrong. But why is this the case? Well, there's many things that have contributed to the recent increase in engine power output, such as the implementation of double overhead camshafts and an overall improvement in technology. However, nothing contributes to increased engine power more than the implementation of forced induction devices, more specifically, the turbocharger and the supercharger. These devices essentially serve the same purpose, which is to force more air into the cylinder head of the engine. Without going too in-depth, the engine runs on an air-fuel mixture, and when the turbocharger or supercharger forces extra air into the engine, it creates more power. So, what's the difference between a turbocharger and a supercharger? Well, mechanically speaking, there's only one difference. A turbocharger is fed by exhaust gases that escape the engine, while a supercharger is driven mechanically by the engine. As the engine runs, it spins the crank pulley, which then spins the upper pulley, turning the supercharger, which forces air into the engine. However, in terms of performance, these two devices are very different. As we learned before, turbochargers are fed by exhaust gases, so in order for boost to be generated, exhaust gases must first be produced. This means that turbochargers have to spool up before they can create power. So, because of this, turbochargers don't create significant power until much later into the RPM range compared to a supercharger. Turbocharged cars produce a sound like this. Since superchargers are mechanically driven by the engine and the belt is always spinning the supercharger, they have no need to spool up. Their extra power is accessible immediately when you press the gas, so they produce a much more consistent power curve throughout the rev range. Supercharged engines sound something like this. But why is this beneficial? You may be wondering. Well, first of all, forced induction devices have allowed engines to become much more powerful. Just look at the facts. Take, for example, the 1989 Ford Taurus Super High Output, or SHOW. It featured a 3-liter V6 engine that produced 220 horsepower, propelling it to 60 miles an hour in just 6.7 seconds. This was state-of-the-art at the time. The Taurus SHOW was considered to be the fastest affordable family sedan ever in 1989 when it debuted. However, if we compared this to the 2019 Taurus SHOW, these numbers are quite sad. The 2019 features a twin turbocharged 3.5-liter V6 with 365 horsepower and a 0 to 60 speed of 5.2 seconds, in a Ford Taurus. As you can see, the turbocharged engine of today produces much more power than the antiquated engine of the past. Secondly, forced induction also increases gas mileage and helps with CO2 emissions. Because forced induction allows more power to be produced, car companies can get away with using smaller, turbocharged or supercharged engines to create the same result as a bigger engine. This is the entire premise behind Ford's EcoBoost engine lineup. The company uses a twin turbocharged V6 in lieu of a standard V8 because the V6 can achieve greater gas mileage at low driving speed, or normal RPM, but yet at the same time deliver great power at higher RPM. Not only does this save gas, but it's also much better for the environment. As you can see, there are many great benefits to forced induction, such as greater engine performance, greater gas mileage, and better emissions. Forced induction devices have only been implemented in cars in the past couple of decades, however, due to the technology being deemed too unreliable to mass produce. It is interesting to see, though, how as times change and technology improves, with it also improves the reliability and efficiency of our engines. Thank you for watching.